All right, so let's talk about the building blocks of customer relationships, the principles of bonding with customers. Of course, we have the Einstein quote: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity. So, if you want to build relationships with customers, you have to do a better job of bonding with them. And this is going to probably require that your organization change how it interacts with its customers. In this course, we're going to be using the customer bonding principles of building relationships with customers rather than some of the other pedagogical approaches. There are three types of customer bonds that you can use to build relationships with customers. Those include financial bonds, social bonds, and structural bonds. The argument, of course, is that financial bonds are the weakest bonds, social bonds are the next strongest bonds, and then structural bonds are the strongest of all bonds. But we'll discuss that a little bit more later on. So, financial bonding. Financial bonding are programs that make it financially logical to start or continue a relationship. Things like free phones, special introductory rates, frequency programs like slot clubs and frequent flyer programs are all examples of financial bonding activities. These are activities where it makes sense to start a relationship or to maintain a relationship with an organization because it is financially beneficial. The second type of bonding is social bonding. You increase social bonds by getting close to your customers and learning about them and what they want and what they need and what they prefer. Then you communicate with them to find out how you can best meet those needs. You use that information to customize your communications, goods, and services to meet the individual wants and needs. It's a sort of a VIP service approach. And we try to focus on things like the norm effect in treatment. The norm effect comes from the TV series Cheers. And you remember when Norm would walk into the bar, everybody would turn around and say, "Norm!" Of course, showing Norm that they knew who he was and that he was part of the Cheers family. Well, it's also true for building bonds with your customers. That is, you really do want to go to a place where everyone knows your name and that they show that they appreciate you and your business and they treat you with respect. This is the example of turning customers into clients. Clients are served by the individual assigned to manage the relationships. Customers are served by whoever shows up next. Customers are nameless, clients have names. Customers are all served the same, clients are served individually. Customers are served by any available employee, clients are served by the professional assigned to them. And so social bonding is really all about establishing a social relationship with the customers. And then finally, we have structural ties or structural bonds. And these are products and services that make the good or service special and make it difficult for the individual to leave the relationship. One of the ways to do this is to involve the customers in the design of the goods and services. Let them have it their way. Let the customer come behind the counter. The idea is to personalize and customize the good and service. And the idea is that if the individual client feels that it would be more costly and more problematic to leave the relationship than to stay in it, then they will stay in that relationship. Some examples are cumulative quantity discounts, longevity benefits, examples for things like season tickets. If you don't renew your season tickets every year, you lose those seats, and if you buy season tickets later on, you won't get those same good seats back. Also, you try to make the product unique. in some way that creates value and is hard for others to replicate. Some of their specific relationship building activities might include communicating with your customers, providing them with information, and gathering information from them. Ask them questions, make them feel important. Build a database on your customers and prospects. You have to have individual level purchase data to have a database. Take the time to learn about your customers, their needs, their preferences, their criteria for making selections. Back in the old days, the famous story about Walton from the Walmart family was that Walton would go from with his trusty dog Roy and his red or green pickup truck, whatever it was, would go from Walmart store to Walmart store, and then he would just walk around the store and strike up conversations with customers to find out what was important to them and to learn about their customers. You have to get close to your customers. You have to find out what really matters to them. You have to anticipate their needs and be ready to meet them when their needs become pressing wants. You need to thank your customers. Think about things like soft benefits. Soft benefits are things that cost the company little or no money, but customers find valuable. These could be things like preferred parking up front for my best customers. The Westgate Hotel's Superbook, it used to be the Hilton Superbook, has reserved spots for their best sportsbook customers. Well, what does it cost for them to have reserved spots for their best sportsbook customers? The answer is the cost of putting up the signs. How valuable do the customers think that is? Well, they think it's really valuable. So think about those soft benefits. And of course, finally, save the best thank yous for your best customers. What else? Well, find ways to add value. How about this concept? Make promises to your customers and then keep those promises. Think about customization in communications, in products, and in services. Think structural bonds, because they're probably the most difficult to duplicate. Think about relationship building as a long-term investment. Remember, we talked about this before. Resolve complaints quickly and fairly. Pay attention to your customers. Do not lose a customer over a complaint. Treat your customers in the manner you would want to be treated. The golden rule. Think about the ways that you can build strong relationships with your best customers. And then go out and do it. The marketing database, of course, is the tool to operationalize this. It's the whole linchpin to one-on-one marketing. And of course, that is all about communicating one-on-one with your customers and prospects, remembering past requests, past purchases, past complaints, and interests. It's also about customization of products and services. It's all about creating a reason to continue the purchase of your product and service. So there are some research questions that you need to ask, since database marketing will be a key piece of all future marketing. What information is needed to build a useful database? How much information should be used to design a more effective and efficient marketing programs? And focus on the lifetime value of customers. How much is each customer worth to your firm, and how hard would it be to increase the lifetime value of customers? And how do you go about doing that? In summary, customers are the most important people in the organization. Customers are not dependent on you, you're dependent on them. Customers are not interruptions in your work, they are the purpose of your work. So often when I go to a store and go to the counter or ask an employee for help, they act like they are going out of their way to help me. I'm the only reason that they're there. If there are no customers, there's no work. It's just like the university. No students, no need for faculty, no need for faculty, no need for administrators, no need for the university. Customers are not people to argue with or match wits with. You cannot win an argument with a customer. You can show the customer that you're right and they're wrong. And then, of course, you know what happens next. They leave and they never come back. But there is one question left to answer, and it's this famous question, as says, and that is, hey, Jack, if customer centricity and using a database marketing approach to build relationships with the best customers is such a great idea, why doesn't everybody do it? Well, there are three really good reasons. One, most firms have a short-term mentality. Second, in most enterprises, the reward structures are not set up to reward behaviors associated with retaining customers. And then third, and most importantly, most firms do not have a data-driven relationship marketing culture. Their culture is a more traditional marketing approach to business. Then there are at least three challenges to developing an effective relationship marketing program. And that first is developing the right organizational structure and infrastructure, budgeting for lifetime value, and developing a reward structure to compensate those individuals who are retaining customers, satisfying customers, and building strong relationships with them.